Welcome to the NFL Saturday podcast. This is Amp.
Just kidding, I'm here this week. And I'm Scotty.
And we're here to catch you up on fantasy football for the week. And we'll have some fun along the way.
I had a funny idea.
What are you gonna do?
I was gonna tell you that you should pretend that I'm not here, and then I'll jump in. But then I didn't think of it. I didn't think of it until you were
sorry.
intro.
I started recording too early.
We had plenty of time. No, we had plenty of time. I just truly didn't think of it until after. I was so stupid.
Oh well. I will cut out the dead space anyway, so it will be funny, but I'm not going to have the dead silence as much, so it won't be as funny. Sorry. Your joke will not fully play out.
That's fine.
However,
it's my fault.
No, it's okay. Today we are going to talk, or actually we're going to do a playoff bracket. Not just talk about it. We're going to do a playoff bracket. So we each already made our brackets, but we're going to go through them. And essentially we're going to score it like March Madness, where you get like 1 point first round, 2 points second round, 4 points in the third round, and then 8 points in the next round. So just kind of doubling it as you go on. So if you do predict the Super Bowl winner, that's a big thing. It's kind of like the comeback potential. It's a lot harder to do though, because obviously you're not really seeing them play, how their playoff form is. So it's very hard to do.
Very difficult.
Before we get into the episode, here is your fun fact of the day. Are you ready, Scotty?
Ooh, I missed it last week. I'm excited.
You did. Well, if you did listen to the podcast.
No, I did.
Okay. Anyway, this is that Trevor Lawrence is undefeated on Saturdays, dating back to 2014. So in his life, he's never lost on a Saturday.
Did you know that he's also undefeated in the playoffs?
I mean, in what kind of playoffs?
in NFL playoffs.
Oh, well, yes, in NFL, but his Saturday record is much more impressive because he went 41-0 from his sophomore to senior year when he started. 41-0 in high school.
Wait, what?
He never lost. And you play on Saturdays most of the time in high school, so he never lost in high school.
Well, when I was in high school, we played during the week. That's crazy. It
depends, at least I don't know. In my high school, you'd play on Saturdays sometimes. But yeah, he never lost in high school. And then in college, he went 34-2. And he never lost a regular season game because those are mostly on Saturdays. His 2 losses were on a Monday and a Friday. He never lost a Saturday. And then in the NFL, he's 1-0 on Saturdays because obviously he beat the Titans last week on a Saturday. So if that says anything,
in the world, I gotta quickly change my bracket.
Saturday. I know, right?
Quickly change my bracket.
I will say though, this is probably going to be uploaded after the game, so we may look like fools, and this may no longer be a fun fact.
It was fun when you told me, but it could be over. Yeah. That's a fair point. Wow.
If you are listening to this, I'm sorry if I jinxed it, but yeah.
Yes. Congratulations, Chargers fans.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. That's a really fun fact. That's a good fun fact.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that game later too. We'll see how it. What our sides of the matchup are. But I guess we can first get into the episode. Kind of get into the main topics, and we always talk about our betting challenge first. So, Scotty, do you want to talk about how you're up 160K now?
I've kind of just been well, first of all, I switched up tactics. My original tactic was volume.
Yeah.
Where I would literally just make all three bets every single day that we were allowed to make. And I went from 250K to like 150K doing that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to slow down. Maybe like every other day, every other couple days. And the funny story is actually last week for the national championship game between Georgia and TCU, just because I wanted to bet, like I was in the mood to bet, but didn't want to do any effort, I saw that you can bet on the result of the coin toss and who would win the coin toss. And I actually won both of those, so that was fun.
And they were both 10K bets. So
oh yeah, I went maximum. So actually, I'm up to 224K, while you sit at 62K.
Yeah, 62K.
But you just hit that nice Jamal Williams where he got 2 touchdowns. That was a nice one.
I was gonna say I would have been like at 30,000, so you'd be up almost 200K on me if I hadn't hit that Jamal Williams 2 touchdown bet, which I'm very proud of.
And we both made the same bet for later, which is Well, actually, they're not the same bet. Actually, you can win yours if I don't win mine, because I wasn't content. I wasn't content with the odds. I was like, that doesn't seem like enough, so I threw in a little line for San Francisco to also cover like 10 points or something, 11.
Yeah, now that you have a lot of money, you're like, I need more money. Like you have to either bet more or yeah.
Yeah, have more, bet more. That's what they say, right?
Exactly. Have more, bet more. There you go. That's how it works in life too.
I'm gonna get a T-shirt made.
And this episode is sponsored by FanDuel.
How cool would that be?
that would be cool. Even though I do prefer DraftKings. Not a sponsor.
Interesting. Well, I can't use DraftKings until 2025, so I don't think they'll sponsor me.
Well, I guess it's time for your
Mr. Unlimited
moment of the week.
Oh, snap.
So this one was ironically against Russell Wilson, and it is Brandon Staley, who decided to play all of his starters last week. Very interesting decision. The game didn't matter at all because Baltimore lost. So their seeding couldn't be affected if they won or lost. So no matter what happened, the game did not matter. And Mike Williams.
Mike Williams. That's right.
Their star wide receiver got hurt on a play that lost 2 yards. It lost 2 yards on the play, and they lost the game anyway. So it did not matter. So their morale shot. Their players injured. Apparently Joey Bosa was even shaken up in the game. So yeah, great just coaching. So glad they played their starters. And they deserve whatever they get. I did. He's out of the game. Mike Williams is out of the game.
Yeah, a small fracture in his back. He will not play, and they're saying he's very likely to miss next week as well if they do win the game.
Yeah.
So that was a
very good coaching.
Why would you? Then they played him the whole. He got hurt in the second half.
Yeah, on a play that lost 2 yards when they lose the game.
we covered that you should play your starters at least in some capacity week 18.
Yeah.
Just because that week off has been proven to kind of hurt people. Like they're not ready for the game when they do come back.
Yeah.
But not the whole game. Come on.
Yeah, that's what was crazy. Like it was so late in the game, it didn't matter. They were already losing. Just rest your starters in the second half. You already got them. Yeah. Like, and I think the issue too is a lot of the times the players know the game doesn't matter and they're not trying as hard. And if you're not trying as hard in a game, that's risky because everyone else is trying as hard. So they're going to hit you harder. They're going to do all that. And if you're not trying, that's when you get injured, So
that's a fair point.
I don't know if that's what happened, but I feel like as you get into that second quarter, they're not going to be trying as hard. And that's when you should play the backups who really do want to like try hard still.
Yeah, they want to go out there and basically audition.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well. Oh well.
Can we honorable mention Mr. Unlimited moment?
Yeah, go ahead. Because I also did have another honorable mention, so we'll see if we have the same one.
Well, it has to be because it's the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. That all the Houston Texans had to do was lose to get the first overall pick, and they converted like 3 4th downs and went for the 2-point conversion. Literally did everything in their power to win that game. And everyone keeps saying that Lovie Smith got fired because he won that game, because he ruined the pick.
No.
I believe that he knew he was getting fired, and he won that game to screw the organization as like a farewell gift.
Yep, I totally agree with that. I think because I mean they've done this in the past with I think they had another black coach who came in and they hired them for 1 year and it was one and done. Even though Lovie Smith actually did do good and performed way above expectations of what the team was, But it's kind of the one and done season. I mean, even Brian Flores, he was kind of expected to be that. They tried to pay him to tank and he didn't tank. They went 6-10 and then they went 10-6 and then 9-7. So, I mean, literally this year they did worse, or he went 9-8 last year. So they did the same record as last year with Brian Flores, even though they had this whole QB drama situation. And it's the kind of that they just kind of try to use the coaches and then get rid of them. And they really don't care about the actual coaches, and it sucks. So I'm definitely agreeing that this was super satisfying that he that he actually won the game. And it was 2 4th and 20s. It wasn't even just normal 4th downs. It was a 4th and 20 that they got the touchdown on. It was insane.
That is insane. Literally all you have to do is just you know what? I don't want my players to get hurt. We're just going to take a knee. You guys win. Good game. And everyone would be happy.
Yeah, they would. It was so funny, though. It was, and I don't know if so they were playing the Colts. And I don't know if you've heard the rumors recently, but the Colts are trying to trade for the number 1 overall pick from the Bears. So
really?
The Colts losing the game could end up getting them a number 1 overall pick if they do successfully trade for that pick. I mean, I don't know if they will, but I think that would be hilarious. I'm already laughing because this essentially same situation happened with Adam Gase for the Jets a couple years ago, where Adam Gase won the last game, and instead of getting Trevor Lawrence, they got Zach Wilson. So,
I heard about that, and now look at the difference.
Yeah, they still should have drafted Justin Fields. So, really, it's on the Jets and solely their mistake. But that said, I find it hilarious and karma for what the Houston Texans did, because they literally fired him the next day. I don't even think they waited a whole day. So
it might even have been literally just after the game.
Yeah, it was
in the press conference.
Clearly they were planning this. Yeah.
So Lovey, what can you tell us about your decision making? You didn't want the number 1 overall pick, and then someone peeks their head in behind the corner. Oh no, he's fired. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
During the press conference, take
him off the podium, escort him out. Yeah. He tries to get out of the room, and his security pass doesn't work anymore. His his key card's already been revoked as he's been in the interview.
That would be. Can I at least go to my locker and get my stuff? We already threw your shit outside. Just leave.
It's already on your car. It's in a box.
That's funny though, because I actually thought that the Bears are more likely to trade Justin Fields than they are to trade the 1st overall pick.
Really, I think that would be a stupid mistake.
Just something I think that they might do. We'll see.
If they do, I think it would be hilarious and a very Bears thing to do, because whoever gets Justin Fields would be ecstatic. I heard a lot of people saying that if you could get Justin Fields, now he would go 101 in this draft. And that's kind of what I would expect as well. I think talent wise, he's already proven in the NFL.
Right.
Especially after this year. So if they did do that, it would be hilarious. Because it would be, I think it would be a really stupid decision. But
I got you.
I don't know. We'll see.
Just people are romanticizing this season a little bit for Justin Fields. If you recall, for maybe the first 7 or 8 games, maybe a little bit less, we literally would make fun of Justin Fields for going 11 for 35 and having no yards and interceptions and no rush yards. And I mean, they only
I will
figured
say,
out
though,
his blueprint. If that's sustainable, I hope it is, because he's fun to watch.
when they did do that was like after the bye, and it was because the coach finally agreed to start doing running plays, and they started stealing plays from the Ravens. So that's why I kind of disregard those first 6 or 7 weeks or whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying, and like people have been like, I mean, I've been on the Justin Fields hating side for a while, but I just feel like I can't do that anymore after seeing what he's done recently. So I mean, he almost had 1,000 yards rushing, or no, he almost broke the record. I don't know what it was. It was one of those two things, but he was very close to breaking the record. Obviously, he didn't because he didn't play the last week, but overall, I mean, it's exciting to see him run for a ton. And obviously,
Oh my god.
I do have that fantasy bias, the fantasy football bias, because the rushing does like make a player like just way better in fantasy. So I want him to play again because it's fun to start him on your lineups and stuff like that. But overall, I think he'll improve. He kind of gave me like Josh Allen vibes. Like remember that first year where Josh Allen had like a 40% completion percentage or something ridiculous? It was like so low, and then he jumped up like 15% or something ridiculous the next year. That's kind of what I'm thinking, because I mean they need a wide receiver. So if they can trade for a wide receiver, and apparently the rumors are that the Colts are trying to trade Michael Pittman and a bunch of picks. So if they do that, I think that would be great. Actually get a wide receiver besides Chase Claypool. But
who isn't doing anything.
Yeah, great trade for them. I'm so glad they traded away all their players, but then traded a really high pick for Chase Claypool. It was very smart. I mean, the Bears are a very smart organization.
No comment.
Awesome. Well, I guess we can get into the main topic if you want.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. The playoff bracket. Let's go! Woo! I'm excited.
I am very excited.
We got the playoffs. We got some exciting matchups, some less exciting matchups in the first round, but I'm excited overall to see where the playoffs go. I guess we can kind of just go through an order of when they play, because if this does come out after the first 2 games, we might as well just talk about those first. So,
okay.
I guess the first game of the wild card is San Francisco versus Seattle. So, what do you think is going to happen in this game?
Complete annihilation comes to mind.
I agree.
Unfortunately, I don't think that San Francisco has a chance. Geno Smith and the Seahawks are just way too good. Brock Purdy's just kidding. All right, the 49ers defense is still absolutely way too good, so Seattle shouldn't be able to put up too many points. And on the backs of Kittle and McCaffrey, I imagine a pretty significant blowout here.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm glad it's the first game. Get it out of the way.
Yeah, get out of the way. I'm going to be out halfway through during the game. I'm catching up, a meeting with a cousin. So I'll be missing part of the game. I'm obviously going to watch the highlights, but I'm just glad that this would be the game that I'm going to miss, because I think it's going to be a blowout. That said,
correct.
It is very hard to go 3-0 against teams. Typically, if you do go 2-0 against a team, a lot of the times it goes the other way. This happened when Tampa Bay lost twice to New Orleans in the regular season, and then they beat them in the playoffs. I think that was the year of the Super Bowl. But essentially, that type of thing does happen a lot, where a team will go 0-2 and then surprise upset them in the playoffs.
Interesting.
However, I
I
think
don't see that happening.
I think the difference is just too much in this game. I think San Francisco is just that much better. I will say I don't think it will be a very big point margin. I know one of your bets was that San Francisco would win by like 13 or something. I don't think that will happen. I think it will be kind of close just because I don't think San Francisco's offense will be able to move as easily as we kind of expect. But I do
Interesting.
think George Kittle will kind of just dominate
Okay.
because he's a beast. I mean, he's George Kittle.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think Seattle scores over 17 points?
Yes, I do.
That's
I
surprising
know,
to hear.
spicy.
Oh, interesting,
I know.
interesting. Okay. But not enough
think-
to win the game.
Yeah, not enough to win. I still think San Francisco wins. I don't see how they don't win.
I agree because Seattle's defense, especially against tight ends and Mr. Kittle over there, is
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason we both bet in our betting challenge that George Kittle would get 2 touchdowns. So,
Seattle's like the worst team against tight ends, right? I think I remember
Yeah.
you telling me that.
yeah, they're literally 32nd. So, I mean, he's literally last game he had like 30 fantasy points against them. So, yeah,
Keep the good
I'm
times rolling.
expecting that. Exactly. And he's got 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games as well. So, yeah, going to be exciting. But I guess we can move on to the exciting matchup for today, which I will be trying to watch live and trying to watch all of it because I think this is actually, I don't know. I think this is the game I'm most excited about because I think
all
this will be
weekend?
very close. I think so because I have become a Jacksonville fan. You know, I've been rooting for Doug Peterson. I talked about it last week. I don't know if you listened to that part of the podcast, but I was saying I was torn
Listen to the whole thing, man.
I was torn. I wanted Jacksonville to win because of Doug Peterson, and I'm a fan, but I also wanted Tennessee to win for your bet. So that was what I was feeling. Hey, I did try to get you to hedge at halftime.
I could
I
have.
tried to get you to hedge like 4 times.
I would have if I could have. If I was
I know,
home watching that game, I absolutely would have. 100%.
Well,
brutal.
unfortunately, you couldn't. But now we stand
Unfortunately, I
with
couldn't.
Jacksonville versus the Chargers. It is in Jacksonville, obviously, because they won the division, so they get home field.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chargers no longer have Mike Williams. Joey Bosa is a little shaken up. What do you think is going to happen? Or should I say what I think is going to happen? Because I think I know what you're picking.
I think we agree. I think.
We agree that Jacksonville will win this game. Nice. Let's go.
Yeah. I picked Jacksonville. I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. I thought you were
I did. No, I'm not trolling you. It was
Okay.
tough. It was tough, but I did pick Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence continues his Saturday win streak. I
That's a fun
personally,
story.
I know, crazy stats, especially because like college, like the fact that he's never lost on Saturday seems so impossible. But he's just so good. I mean, he's been doing so good near the end of the year. Obviously, the Chargers have been as well, but last week they did not look good. They played all their starters and lost to the Broncos. Now they have to go to Jacksonville, and I just feel like with the experience, the Chargers, they've been bad in the playoffs in past. Specifically, Justin Herbert has been bad as well. And Trevor Lawrence, he's always been a winner. He's a winner. Doug Peterson's a winner. So I think even though they don't technically have the playoff experience as the Jags, I think the players themselves won't crack under pressure because they haven't in the past. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. Is that kind of what you're thinking as well? Is that why you picked them? Or is there some other reason?
I'm slightly afraid of the choke factor because none of these players have really been in the playoffs before. For Jacksonville, well, I guess for the Chargers too, they're still a young team as well. But
Yeah.
excluding their record, because obviously the Chargers finished with a better record, I still think I still think Jacksonville's the better team, like with the better core group of guys.
Yeah.
Like, if you asked me if I wanted to start a team right now, like bring people to Baltimore, am I taking like Herbert or Eckler or Lawrence or an ETN? It's super close, but
Yeah.
I think I'll go with Lawrence and ETN. I think they're more exciting.
And the big thing for me is the coaching is just so much better on Jacksonville. I mean,
That's true. Doug Peterson has been. Yeah, okay. That's a fair tipping point as well.
yeah. So I'm glad we're in agreement there. I actually did think you were going to pick the Chargers, but I'm glad I've been able to sway you to the Jacksonville side.
That was my longest decision. I think I did that one. I think I did all the first round games, and that was the last one that I did.
That's funny. I do think it would be funny too if the Chargers lose, because Chargers fandom and the media will panic because everyone keeps saying how Justin Herbert is like, keep comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, and like every time he makes a throw, they're like, if Mahomes made that throw, it would be on Sports Center for 4 weeks or something like that. So,
Yeah, but Mahomes knows how to win games, so
exactly, he knows how to win games. I mean, I think part of it is the coaching for the Chargers, but I also think that Mahomes has won games when his supporting cast has been way worse. So, I mean, the Chargers do have a really good team. So I think the talent is there on both sides. I'm just so excited for Jacksonville. I like the story, the underdog story. They are underdogs on betting sites, which is why I bet like 10,000 in our betting challenge on Jacksonville to win the game straight up, just money line. So that's what I'm hoping for. Go Jacksonville.
all right.
Jacksonville Jags.
I forgot that you bet on it. Maybe I'll root for the Chargers.
It was a 10K bet too, so
Ooh, a lot
to win
lose.
12K. Yeah, 12K to win though. So who knows? I mean, I'm so far down, I don't even think you have to worry about that. You really just have to worry about the $1 million bets I make. That's what you really got to worry about.
True.
Yeah, exciting though. I guess we can move on to
what's next. Buffalo, Miami,
yeah, which is going to be Sunday morning. Buffalo versus Miami.
Do we technically have to talk about this game?
We will just mention that Tua Tagovailoa must have gone upstate because Skylar Thompson
what the
is. I'm starting to suspect you have not seen Hamilton, based on your reaction. But I did make a couple Hamilton references for anyone listening. But yeah, Skylar Thompson is starting. The third string quarterback for Miami is starting. So Buffalo wins this game. Did I see correctly that this was the biggest margin for victory, like for a Vegas game, in the playoffs ever? I think that's what I heard.
what is it? What is it at? Like 13?
Let me check because I think it's changed. But yeah, I think it's like massive favorites for Buffalo, which makes sense. It's in Buffalo. Obviously Buffalo is already huge, but yeah, 13.5 minus 13.5 for a playoff game.
I think that they cover that. Actually, I think they win by
the Bills. Yeah,
yeah, they potentially win by 20. I don't know.
The weird thing, I mean, you saw last week. Yeah, they couldn't. They got 9 points against the Jets in a must-win
11.
game. Oh, it was 11. You're right, because the safety. Oh my God, that's safety at the end. I would be so mad if I was like a bettor and lost because of that safety, because that was the stupidest safety ever.
Will there be a safety in the game? No. It's like minus 4,000. You'd have to bet $4,000 to win 100, and then imagine you get screwed on that play.
Yeah, right. I mean, that would be so funny. But yeah, overall, I don't think there's much to talk about. Buffalo's going to destroy them, I think.
Correct.
I don't see any way Miami wins this. I mean, and it wasn't like we talked about this earlier that like sometimes those 0-2 games, like if a team goes 0-2, they sometimes randomly upset. But I think they split the regular season 1-1, so it doesn't even apply here. So yeah, overall, nothing to talk about. So I guess we can just move on to the afternoon game. Minnesota versus the New York Giants. Are you going to continue your hating ways? Because you hate the Minnesota Vikings.
The Miami
But I also
Vikings.
think you also hate the New York Giants too.
You know I'm
So-
a Daniel Jones man. Come on.
That is true. You are a Daniel Jones.
All right.
fan.
I'm going to have to dive into my complicated thought process here.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Because remember I told you last night that I had a free bet and I used it to bet on all the people that I
Yeah.
think will win. All right. Here's the one exception. on my sports ticket where the actual money was involved,
Yeah.
I could not, for some reason, like I clicked the Giants, I pushed the button, and I was just looking at it, and I was like, you know what? It doesn't seem right. I gotta go with the Vikings. But in my like heart of hearts, and in our little bracket, and in my
Okay.
picks, I think the Giants can pull it off. But I don't believe it enough to bet money on it or fake
Well-
money because it's a free bet. But
I have to actually agree with you. I'm picking
With
the Giants
which-
as well.
let's go Giants!
Let's go Giants!
Let's go!
Even though
So
I don't
either-
want the. I mean, to be fair, if the Giants win, it is very likely that the Eagles play them next week. So
Mhm.
this is obviously a 1 week rooting thing.
Right. For
Obviously, yeah, for me. I think it will be better to play the Giants than it would be to play the Cowboys.
you. Oh,
Because
100%.
we've destroyed the Giants both weeks. And the Giants have even admitted that they were scared to play the Eagles whenever we play them. Literally, players on the teams have said that they're scared to play us. And the coach even said that. So,
Jesus.
yeah,
That's not a good
interesting
look.
tactics there. Yeah. I will say, though, that I think the Giants win this game because Minnesota has historically choked in key games. Kirk Cousins,
That's what I
obviously,
was thinking.
we've talked about it. We've talked about them choking. And that said, I also think the coach for the Vikings is worse than the coach for the Giants. And that's why I think the Giants are going to win this. Because I think the Giants their coach is he's a good coach. It's the weirdest thing. Like, I don't think their team is great, but they're good enough where the coaching pushes them over the edge. And the Vikings defense sucks. They're terrible. So I think the Giants' biggest weakness has been able to put up points against good defenses. And the Vikings' defense sucks. So you don't even have to worry about that. So
Yeah,
that's
but
kind
I'm
of
also worried.
what I'm thinking.
I'm also worried about Hawkinson and Jefferson just eating all day
Oh, yeah.
against the
That's
Giants
true.
D. So it's going to
But
be like
that
a last-second field goal situation.
Yeah, I could see this being very close, but I do think there's going to be some turnovers. I think the Vikings, Kirk Cousins specifically, will get down early. And
Okay.
will he be able to come back like he always does? That's the question.
No.
We'll
no,
see.
No. He can't keep getting away with this.
literally, that's how I feel. So awesome.
All right.
Well, we can move on to Sunday night because I didn't realize there were 3 games on Sunday until like literally 2 days ago, I think, because I thought
Well,
for some reason in my head I heard from somewhere that it was going to be 2-2-2. So I don't know
Well,
what happened, but now Cincinnati
since-
is versus Baltimore.
yeah, but this is it really a game? Does it really count?
I don't think we need to talk about this one either because Anthony
I'm very
Brown
I'm
is
a
starting
very
for the
sad
Baltimore
Ravens
Ravens.
fan. Our season
If-
is over.
If the Ravens somehow win, do you think Lamar plays next week?
No.
No? You think Anthony Brown continues? They
If
keep
he-
playing with Anthony Brown?
Well, I could ask you the same question. If Brock Purdy wins, does Jimmy Garoppolo come back and play?
Yes, he does. If he's healthy.
What?
I think so. Brock
All
Purdy
right,
is not doing anything stat wise. That makes me.
we'll
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later, I guess. But yeah, I think Cincinnati wins this game. I don't think we need to talk about it that much, unless you want to
Correct.
talk about it. But I
Nope,
think
I
this.
think they beat them by like 30 points, and
Yep.
I don't care how good their defense is. I think the time of possession will be like 50 minutes and 10 minutes, and
I will
they'll
say I
just
don't
score,
think
like,
it's going to
an
be 30
unlimited-
points. I think
No,
McManus
Ravens
is gonna
defense
get a
is
ton of
still
field
good,
goals.
but
yeah, and I think McManus is going to get a ton of field goals. Sorry, McPherson. I said McManus. I meant McPherson.
Evan McPherson.
Evan
yes.
McPherson is going to get a ton of field goals. I think they're going to struggle to convert. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I can't see the Ravens scoring at all. So I think it's going to be like, I don't know, like 19-3. I could see that.
I can see that.
So yeah, that's what I see. It is going to be
Can
in
I say
Cincinnati.
one thing?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I will agree right now that the final score is 19-3, and the Ravens are out. If those 3 points are a Justin Tucker 70-yard field goal as time expires, just because if we're going to lose the game, we might as well have at least a talking point, and he breaks his own record. Can we do that?
Oh, that's what you want? Wait, I'm confused. What are you asking?
I was saying I'll be okay if we lose the game. If
Oh,
that's
you'll
the
be
narrative.
okay. Okay, I see. Okay, yeah. We can go with that.
All right, let's do it.
That's
Come
what
on,
I'm for.
Tucker.
So I guess for
As
last
time
game,
as time
as time
expires.
expires. Okay, cool. We can go with that. Well, the last game we have here is on Monday, and that is Tampa Bay versus Dallas. I think you know where I'm going with this.
I think you know where I'm going with this.
I'm going with Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay.
100%. 100%.
Okay. We both think Dallas is going to choke. I mean, they kind of choked last week. I mean, that's the thing. I think if Dallas did win last week, I probably would have picked Dallas here. But they were trying in that game against Washington.
Oh God, they were trying. So they got crushed.
And Dak was playing so bad. I mean, Dak has been terrible since he came back. I don't know if you've seen his interceptions. He's had like the most interceptions in the league. So
and he's missed games. He has more than people who've played the whole season.
Exactly. So I don't see how that's not going to hurt them. The Buccaneers have been pretty bad, but recently they've at least been able to score. So Mike Evans went off in week 17. So yeah.
Also, you're forgetting.
They're going to win. Oh yeah, what am I forgetting?
You were forgetting that Tampa Bay has the X Factor.
Ooh.
Do you remember in the original Space Jam with Michael Jordan where they're just drinking water, but then they just write like the sticker that says it's like some secret formula to make them play better? And then everyone actually... Okay. So there's just like a placebo effect.
Yeah.
But I read a report that all of the Buccaneers players have actually been taking vitamin TB12. and during the playoffs, that is super effective.
Yeah.
A little Tom Brady in the playoffs goes a long way. The dude finds a way to get it done.
Oh yeah.
I think the choke factor for Dallas with the ability for Tom Brady to win games he has no business winning.
Yeah.
I think Tampa Bay pull it off. Their defense is going to carry them to a win, I think.
I agree. I think Dallas chokes. It is in Tampa Bay too, so they have that home field advantage. I agree. I don't think there's a ton to say. I think Tampa Bay's rush defense is pretty good, so they're probably going to struggle because Dallas has always needed to establish the run when they play against someone. So I think that will hurt them. We'll see how it actually plays out, but that's what I'm expecting. Yeah. I'm excited for that game, but I'm also going to be at work, so I'll be listening. I won't be watching. But yeah, we'll see how that plays. I guess. Wait, do we have all the same winners for the wild card? That's crazy. So
Did we?
yeah, we
Yeah,
picked
we
every
did.
single same team. So we'll actually have the same matchups then for the divisionals. So
Oh,
I guess I was gonna say we could
that'll be,
just go back and forth and then
but it'll be
do
quicker
that.
to talk about this way.
Yeah, but we'll be quicker to talk about. So the first divisional matchup, I typically what they do is they have the one seeds play on Saturday. I'm not sure if that will continue because they haven't announced the schedule, but I guess their reasoning is like if the one seeds win on Saturday, they get an extra day of rest the next week. So it's like an extra advantage going into the conference championship game. So
Mhm.
so the first game I have is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Giants. Um, and I'm assuming you have the same matchup somewhere on your list, correct?
And I have the same winner as well.
And you have the Eagles winning. Nice.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's nothing to talk about there.
I am
Unfortunately,
worried about the divisional matchup because we did beat the Giants twice. I think this has the potential to be very close and a possible upset if this does happen. Just because coming off the bye week too. That said, though, the Eagles have been very good against bad teams. And the
Mhm.
Giants, I mentioned earlier, are scared of them, literally scared of them. Um, and on top of that, I feel like the Giants just don't match up well against the Eagles. So um, I think this will be a blowout, but I don't know. I'm still a little worried. Just as a fan, I can't get my hopes up too much because I'm just worried. So yeah,
I can agree with that. It could definitely be scary just because you go in with like such high expectations, like, oh, we already beat them twice, and that can sort of lull you into like a false sense of like you deserve to win the game and you don't actually try, whatever. So
yeah.
we'll see, but on paper and on the field, that should be an easy win for the Eagles.
Yeah, I just hope they don't start talking trash because if they start talking trash, that's always like the downfall of these teams. Is when you start talking trash, that's when you start losing. So I just hope they don't do that. Um, but yeah, not much to talk about in that one actually, because we've already seen that matchup twice. But
Mm-hmm.
the next matchup I'm a little excited about, and that's Kansas City versus Jacksonville. So
All right. Does this end your I believe in Jacksonville streak?
I guess it does, and it also would end Trevor Lawrence's Saturday win streak because it would likely be on a Saturday. So,
Ooh, yeah. I
yeah,
also
I'm
picked
picking
Kansas City.
KC. Not
Did we
crazy
have the
here.
same bracket?
We
What
have the same. It feels like we have the same bracket. I definitely have some
what the
crazy
heck is
picks.
going on?
I don't
Yeah,
think
I
we'll
do
have the same bracket.
too.
But
I
I mean,
I have some funky picks too.
okay, we'll see, dude. We literally might. Not, it would be really funny if we had the same bracket. So
Oh,
so San Francisco versus Tampa Bay is the next one, and I'm assuming we both have San Francisco winning this as well. Or do you
I
have
would
the
like
Tom Brady magic?
I would like to introduce you to my first funky pick.
Ooh,
I think that Tampa Bay's. Remember how we keep talking about how you even said it yourself. Purdy is not putting up QB numbers that excite you. He's able to do things
okay,
to win games. I guess he's not turning the ball over.
yeah,
McCaffrey's sort of carrying like a huge load to get him through, and the defense, of course. But I think maybe a little bit of confusion and distraction with like Garoppolo maybe being healthy, plus Tom Brady, plus Tampa Bay defense. I think San Francisco bows out in the second round. I think Tampa Bay gets it done.
interesting. Okay, because from what I think Tom Brady has a mental block against San Francisco. There's a couple teams I think he has a mental block against, and I think those are obviously the New York Giants,
Hmm.
the Eagles, and then the Niners. And
Okay.
I think for the Niners, it's because he did grow up in the Bay Area. He went to my rival high school. So I think he's gonna be back because it would be in San Francisco, assuming this would be the matchup. It would be in San Francisco, and I think that's going to hurt them. I think that will hurt them.
Hmm.
I guess we'll see what
Yeah.
actually happens, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's going to hurt them.
Well, only one way to find out, I guess.
Only
I'm
one way to
excited.
find out. I'm glad we have a different pick, though.
Finally.
And I'm glad I'm betting on San Francisco because that will take a lot of stress off.
Oh yeah, I mean you feel like you're on the right side of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well,
I know what you mean.
you have the Eagles versus Tampa Bay next, so I'm curious to see what you do there. But first, we have a very exciting matchup, and that's Buffalo versus Cincinnati.
The rematch,
The rematch.
the very I don't even know what the word is. It's gonna be like sentimental.
Oh yeah,
If this matchup happens, if our first round picks are correct and this game aligns,
and the thing is
the
too, it's very easy for like Buffalo just has to beat Miami, and Cincinnati just has to beat Baltimore, who are both playing third string QBs.
correct, because it wouldn't matter who wins between Jacksonville and the
Yeah,
Chargers. Whoever wins that game plays Kansas City.
exactly.
I I think like the pre-game stuff that they're gonna do for
Uh huh.
DeMar Hamlin in that game, like the pre-game stuff is gonna be insane. Like that'll be the one
Oh
game where
yeah.
you don't just turn it on when it's about to start. You turn it on like a half an hour early, and you want to see all the stuff that they're doing to like commemorate and honor and whatever.
Yeah,
It could be really
definitely.
exciting.
Totally agree. Um, and I guess for how the game's gonna go, what are you what are you kind of thinking? I want to hear what you have to say
Uh,
first.
I'm kind of. I think, and I know you're going to disagree. I know that you're going to disagree. This is a pick that we have different. I know it for a fact, but I think that Josh Allen gets over his little hump, and Buffalo as a city gets over their little hump, and they finally win the difficult game and progress in the playoffs. I think they win a shootout. I think Buffalo wins.
Interesting. Okay. Well, you are correct. I do think Cincinnati wins. So
I know.
let me
I knew
explain my
that for
thought
sure.
process. I mean, obviously, I think Cincinnati has been red hot recently. They've been literally just going on fire. I thought they were going to beat Buffalo that week
Hmm.
that they played already. I'm glad we'll get. Hopefully, we should be able to see this again. So I really want to see if my thought process is the same, or maybe not my thought process, but I'm just want to see if everything comes to fruition that I thought would happen the first time. Um,
Hmm.
I think Buffalo has been looking terrible recently. They barely
I
beat New
agree.
England. They barely beat a couple teams that they've played in the last like 5 weeks, and they just have not looked good on offense. And I think Cincinnati is going to come into Buffalo and win this game, and Josh Allen will not get over his playoff slumps. And that's what I'm thinking. So, yeah, I
And
think it's going to be another
I
heartbreak
can't
year for
argue with
Buffalo
you.
fans.
I can't argue with you because I was on the fence with this one, but something tells me that they're gonna bring that X factor that we haven't seen yet, and they're gonna like they took a couple weeks off at the end of the regular season to get us scared a little bit, but
Yeah.
they're gonna snap back into shape. Crushing Miami is gonna revamp their spirits, and I think they're gonna be like, snap back to reality. Essentially, I think we're gonna see the Buffalo we're used to seeing.
Okay.
Uh, no matter who wins that game, I don't think I'll be upset. Either a good
Yeah.
story for Burrow to potentially go back to back, or Allen gets to like a little redemption arc. I'll be excited either way.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I would love to see Kansas City and Cincinnati. But at the same time, Buffalo versus Kansas City would also be amazing at a neutral site. So, I mean, that would be so fun to watch. So, I guess I mean it is kind of cool that we have different conference championship games. So we do have
Mhm.
some variants now. Crazy that the wild card games we had all the same picks, but I'm glad we have some variants, and I
That's
guess
good.
we're going to have different conference championship games now. So I guess I'll start with mine, which is Philadelphia versus San Francisco. And I think that this is one where San Francisco's strength is that their entire team is good besides their quarterback. Their quarterback's just average.
Mhm.
But Philadelphia, the entire team is good and they have a good quarterback. So I think matchup wise, this is not a good matchup for San Francisco. I don't think they'll be able to move the ball in offense as well. And that's why I think Philadelphia will win this game. That's kind of my thought process because it will be in Philly too. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. What is your conference game? Well, I know your conference game, but do you want to announce it and say who you think will win?
I have your Philadelphia Eagles hosting Tom Brady. And you so kindly led me into my pick, into my victor.
Nice.
You said that Tom Brady has a block against the Eagles. He just can't seem to get it done.
Yeah.
So without much needing to be said, I think that Hurts and Sanders and Gainwell and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and everybody's firing on all cylinders right now. The defense has been unbelievable, leading the league in turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, just crushing in every category. I think that the Eagles will overwhelm the old Buccaneers and beat them in Philly and send them home, send them back to warm weather.
I like it.
I don't. Not too much strategy. I don't think needs to be talked about. I think it's an easy game. I think it'll look like it'll look like I wish San Francisco would have beat Tampa Bay so we got a better game. I think that's the kind of game
Yeah.
we're looking at.
I guess I will point that out for my game. I do think it's going to be a very close game. I just think that the Eagles will have that edge, that X factor. But I do think it will be a very close game, and I'll be stressed for most of it. So I think, though, if the Eagles do make the Super Bowl, at this point, I'll be happy with the season for the Eagle as an Eagles fan. Obviously, I want the Eagles to win. That will make me ecstatic, but I think just making the Super Bowl is proof that our team is like really good for the future, you know? Like,
Okay.
because
So if they make the
obviously-
Super Bowl but don't quite win, you're still content. Like, okay, that was still at least
Yeah.
it was a good season.
I'll be very mad in the moment, but like I'm a month later, I'll be like, okay, that was still a good season. I'm still happy. Kind of like the Bengals last year. Like
Okay.
the Bengals making the Super Bowl, you were very happy with that, you know? It would have been very
Okay.
nice. It would have been amazing if they won, but I think just making the Super Bowl for them. And I feel the same way with the Eagles. I mean, we have a very bright future if we can win playoff games as well, because that's the last step, you know, is winning the playoff games.
Yeah. Correct.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I get we have a different AFC matchup as well. So I will go into mine, which is Kansas City versus Cincinnati. This will be in Kansas City because no neutral site game because that's the Buffalo Kansas City game. That's the neutral site. So I personally think this is going to be my wild pick of my whole bracket, and that is I think Cincinnati is going to win this and go back to the Super Bowl, back-to-back Super Bowls. I think it's going to happen. I just think Joe Burrow is that good. He's that guy. And then it's going to be Eagles versus Cincinnati in the Super Bowl, and that's when I'm going to get uninvited to Troy's Super Bowl party. So
Were you invited anyway?
I was, yes, he did invite me. But I'm obviously joking. I'm sure my invite will still get there, but I will be doing a gritty every time the Eagles score a touchdown if they are playing each other. So just a fair
I think he
warning
would just-
if Troy is listening.
He would close his eyes. I don't think he would watch that.
Awesome. Well, my Super Bowl matchup is Philadelphia Cincinnati. Who do you have joining Philadelphia in your Super Bowl? Because you have a different matchup.
I
You can't pick
believe-
Cincinnati.
Correct. I cannot. I would not. I should not. I'm a Ravens fan. In my heart, I can't. I had to extinguish the Bengals fire. I believe I have a 1-2 in the AFC for the
You do.
AFC Championship. I got a little KC hosting, quote unquote, Buffalo in Atlanta is where that game will be played.
Oh, I
They
didn't know
said
that was
that
where.
they said the Mercedes Benz whatever. No, it's New Orleans. What's
So it's
the
in New Orleans?
whatever the no?
I
It's,
don't know. Atlanta. It is Atlanta.
It is in Atlanta. I don't know what their stadium is called.
I don't either.
I made that mistake. Okay.
It's
Anyway,
the Choking Dome.
Jesus Christ! How did you know? That's the name of my sex dungeon. What the?
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, who do you have for joining the Eagles in the Super Bowl?
I believe that it's not the end of an era because Mahomes is going to be good for the next 10 years or longer. But it is the end of a season. I believe that the Bills recently have done fairly well against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Both defenses are shaky.
Uh-huh.
Both offenses have scared me lately. KC almost lost to like Denver twice. They almost lost to they played like an ugly game against Oakland. I mean Las Vegas. Oakland.
Oakland. Nice.
Flashback. I think I told you that I think Buffalo and Josh Allen will exercise their demons. I think we're looking at a Buffalo-Philadelphia Super Bowl
Wow.
here.
So, I just want to point out then that essentially what the whole bracket will probably come down to is that Cincinnati Buffalo game. That will essentially be the whole bracket.
When that game happens, whoever correctly picks that,
yeah,
looks like they'll be the winner. Okay,
because it doesn't really matter then because it will be. I mean, I guess it depends on who's the winner of the Super Bowl. But
neither one of us picked.
Let's wait.
Pick.
I guess. I think we should.
We didn't
wait,
make. We didn't make the same pick.
Announce the Super Bowl after the. I think we should do it after to like hold the suspense. You know.
You don't. Well, we can cover the Super Bowl a second time if it's different. Or do you want to not say anything?
You want to announce who your winner is? That's what I'm assuming you want to do.
No, I'm not. I'm not eager to. Based on how you were talking earlier, and you said you made funky picks, I was just thinking that maybe you didn't pick Philadelphia. But we don't have to get into it.
We'll see.
We don't have to get into it.
Maybe it was
we don't
a
have to get into it.
I was going to say
Again.
we do that after. What's your prop? But we can hold the suspense off. If you do want to just announce it, we can. But I thought it might be interesting to hold the suspense. So
we can hold it. We can hold it.
All right, cool. So I guess it's time for Ask Anissa then, where I ask my wife Anissa a fantasy football question, and she knows nothing about football. So, Anissa,
Yeah.
which of the favored teams will lose? The Bengals, the Buccaneers, or the Vikings?
The Buccaneers for sure.
The Buccaneers are going to lose?
Yeah.
All right. Buccaneers are going to lose.
Lock it in.
Now let's play What's Your Prop? I slowly died there at the end.
I was like, when is it going to run out of breath?
Where we pick 3 prop bets for the other person who will pick a side. We will keep track of our records and then be publicly punished on the show at the end of the year. 2 weeks ago, we both went 1-2 because last week Scotty was out, so we didn't make our picks. But 2 weeks ago, we went 1-2. Scotty is now 22-14, and I am 15-21. So I likely will lose, but you never know. I can make a huge comeback in the playoffs. I figured out your kryptonite. So
I've heard this every week.
I was actually able to transfer over 2 of my picks from last week over to this week. So
interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting. What's your prop? I will say though,
since yours are so exciting, do you want to go first or second?
I do want to say before last week, the one that you got correctly was Greg Dortch, and you had, I think it was 2.5 receptions, or it's 3.5. It might have been 3.5. But I just remember that you got it by, like, you got exactly on the line. And the only reason you picked Greg Dortch was because you thought it would go under. So you did the opposite. Which was pretty
Jesus.
funny. But on top of that, Greg Dortch had 10 targets and he only got 3 catches.
Jesus.
The whole game, if you were, I know you probably weren't paying attention because I think you were at work.
I was not watching that game.
Yeah. It was like the whole game he was getting targets and not catching it. So it was pretty funny that he barely got it at the end.
That's crazy.
But-
10 targets, 3
yeah,
catches.
10
That's very
exactly.
inefficient.
It was very inefficient.
Jesus.
But something to keep in mind going forward, if DeAndre Hopkins doesn't return, possibly a good fantasy player. But let's not get
Potentially.
sidetracked. Let's not get sidetracked. Because I have a spicy pick that I was going to make last week as well. But I will make it this week. And that is
Over. I pick over.
Joshua Kelly, 8.5 touches. Do you still want the over?
Under.
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 You changed your mind.
Under.
All right. Under.
I did change my under.
All right. What is
I
your
don't think Mike Williams' absence will get him to 9 touches. I don't think.
Fair enough.
All right. My first pick is also player touches, receptions, and rushes.
Ooh,
But my
okay.
line is a little bit higher than yours.
Okay.
We're gonna go with 16.5. It's the 4th time I've asked you this question. I don't know what your
Oh.
record is.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm
I
I'm
know
bringing
it
in that
is.
McCaffrey.
I know it's McCaffrey. 16.5 touches.
16.5 touches. Last week in Arizona, he had 13. The week before, he had like 24 versus Las Vegas.
Yeah. And they were resting people against Arizona. I don't think they'll rest against Seattle, so I'm going to go over 16.5.
All right,
Going
over
over.
it is. Should have went higher.
Yeah, you should have. But you didn't. So my next pick
Savage.
will be someone you're very fond of, being a Daniel Jones lover, and that is
Ooh,
Isaiah
rushing yards?
Hodgins.
Oh,
Isaiah Hodgins, 3.5 receptions.
over. I've
Over
learned my lesson.
3.5
Over.
receptions. So over.
Mhm.
All right, Isaiah Hodgins. He's been hitting the breakout. He's going to go over 3.5 receptions. What is your second pick for me, Scotty?
Ooh, we are going to stay in Minnesota. It's so funny that we have players from the same game. But we're switching sides of the field to TJ Hawkins, Hacky Sack.
Hacky sack Hawkstrap.
Does Hawkinson, who a couple weeks ago scored 2 touchdowns versus the same Giants team in an important game where both teams would have been trying to win, does TJ Hawkinson record a touchdown or more? Does he get
Ooh.
into the end zone?
You know, I think I'm going to have to go under. I think he does not get a touchdown. I know.
What?
Shocker. I think he's going to be hockey strapped this week and not hockey leaves. So
The nicknames are awesome. All right, no touchdown for hockey
for
leagues.
Hawkinson.
Okay.
Hockey,
I'm surprised.
Hawkstrap. All
I'm
right.
surprised by that.
Well, there is only one person that can save you from going 0-3, and that is Skylar Thompson. Does Skylar Thompson get an interception?
Well, he plays on offense, so he can't get an interception.
Sorry, does he throw an interception?
No, I'm not messing with you. I knew what you meant. Does Skyler versus... Does Buffalo's defense really get a lot of interceptions? I don't think
Good
so.
question. But he is Skylar Thompson too.
But you know
He's
what?
gotten-
I could just imagine that they're so far behind that he's throwing Hail Marys at the end of the second half. Not just the end of the game. The end of
Yeah.
the second half. Just praying for points.
I could see that.
Those
He
don't
had
have to
one
get
interception in
intercepted,
week
though.
17 and 0 last week. So it's a hard pick.
Does Skylar Thompson throw an interception? Dang, that is a hard pick. You know what? I'm going to flip like I did with Dortch. I think that he wouldn't, so I'm going to say yes. I'm going to switch.
All right.
I think that
So-
Skylar Thompson throws an interception.
You think he will? All right. So you're gonna get that one right because every time you flip, you get it right. So,
Fair point. Fair point.
all right, fun. What's
All right.
your last pick for me?
Dude, this is hilarious. Because I also have a quarterback, and the stat line in question is interceptions. I think we both did the same exact thing. No, because you did receptions.
Yeah, I did receptions. That's right.
But we did touches the first round, and then we did interceptions. All right.
Yeah.
We are talking about Monday Night Football.
Ooh, okay.
Dak Prescott. But it's not so simple. I'm not just
Okay.
asking, will he throw one interception? I'm asking, do you think that Dak Prescott, Mr. Choke, versus Tampa Bay? I think, but what do you think? 2 or more interceptions.
Oh my god.
Does he do it?
2 is a lot. Oh.
No, two is out with a concussion.
Okay. 2 is a lot. I think one of those turnovers, maybe a fumble instead. So
Ooh.
I'm gonna go under 2 interceptions. And
Okay.
yeah, I think I gotta go under. I definitely would have gone over for 1 though. So good line, because now if he gets 2, you got me with the line. So yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Hey, I would prefer him to throw more interceptions, so I'm fine with that. All right,
Okay.
well, I guess we can
Now
talk
we move
about
on to the next
yeah,
segment.
our Super Bowl.
We talk about all the matchups.
we we talk about all the matchups, aka the Super Bowl pick. That's the only matchup left. So,
Ooh. Do you want to say it at the same time?
who we think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I have Buffalo versus Philadelphia.
I have
You have Cincinnati versus Philadelphia.
Well, I guess it would be Philadelphia versus Cincinnati and Philadelphia versus Buffalo, right?
Oh,
Aren't they
well,
technically
it's
the home
new-
team because they have the best
They
record?
are technically the home team, but it's neutral. But
It
I'll
is
grant you
neutral.
the fact that they are the number 1 seed
Hey.
versus those teams. I'll give it to you. Listen,
you.
small
I appreciate
victories,
it.
small victories, small victories. All right.
So I mentioned.
think
What do you think?
I don't think we picked the same. I don't think we made the same pick. I don't think you picked Philadelphia. I don't
Well-
think you picked Philadelphia.
I said earlier that I may have baited you, and I believe I did because I picked Philadelphia. I'm going to be gritting all over, sending videos to Troy the whole game. Yeah, I think the Eagles win this.
I believe that I also baited you with the reverse because when I said that I thought we picked different teams,
It's because
I
we
was
have
saying
to.
that I did. I was saying that I didn't think you picked Philadelphia because I was the one who didn't pick Philadelphia.
Well, I understand
I
you're
picked
picking.
Buffalo.
You picked Buffalo. I understand your Buffalo fandom. Obviously, at this point, it really is all going to come down to. Actually, no, because if Buffalo beats Cincinnati and then Buffalo loses to KC, I could still win if the Eagles win the Super Bowl. So, I still have my hope, no matter what.
For those who don't know, and I will have to say this to you, just to reiterate,
Yeah.
I have family from Pennsylvania who are diehard Philly fans, and you've always been a Philly fan, so I've always adopted them as like my second team. Like if the Ravens weren't playing them, I would always root for Philly, and you know that to be true. I've been rooting for them alongside you,
Yeah.
all season.
But this is predictions. This isn't necessarily.
I'm not a Philadelphia hater. I just wanted to be clear that I do think they are an amazing team. I just think that this won't be their year. I think that
That's fair.
I think that just like when the Ravens rode the back of Ray Lewis's retirement and went on that crazy run. I think
Yeah.
that the Bills are going to rally around that moment that they all shared and bonded together, and I think they carry that all the way to the end.
I don't mind. I mean, I don't think it's a terrible pick. I think it's an all right pick. I will say it does open the door for me though to get more, to come back with an Eagles Super Bowl win. So, point
That
wise,
would be a fun story.
we'll see. Yeah, it will be fun. Well, honestly, I think the bracket will be fun to follow overall. I think I've mentioned this before, but I think we should do a review episode probably
Mhm.
after the whole season is over.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Once
and I think
everything
we
is
can-
actually
yeah.
done.
I think we can review essentially the bracket. We can review that daily fantasy thing we did. We can review some of the other stuff we've done throughout the year, some of the other picks.
Uh-huh.
We don't have
I
to go into
support
too
that.
much depth, but I think one thing that a lot of podcasts don't do is they don't kind of tell you how well they actually do prediction wise. And I think it will be fun
Right, they
to
just
go over
expect
that.
you never will look back and like fact check. Like,
Yeah.
were they actually good? Did they actually get anything right?
Yeah, but I think that's
Okay.
something fun. It's something that we can kind of see ourselves how good we actually did. Because I don't think that's the main
I
goal of the
support that.
podcast either. I mean, obviously we are trying to get the best information we can out, but I think it's more just to have fun on the podcast, to talk about the games, have some fun around talking about the games.
Mhm.
So I think it's the main goal.
I
But
agree.
yeah, fun. We'll see. I'm excited for the playoffs. We only got a couple hours left, and then we start with the blowout. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
excited.
true. It's literally it is 2 hours away. Right for the we're only 2 hours away from the beginning of the end.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I guess, do you have a segment for me before I close out the episode?
I do,
Ooh.
but I don't have the energy this week to,
Okay,
to
you wanna
bring
wait?
you the ruler. I don't have the energy for some reason. I don't have it. But I will tell you that I had to expand from rules and such that happened during the run of play because basically I ran out.
Okay.
There weren't any. I've made up like 2 or 3, and I used up all the actual real rules that
You made up
exist
one.
that are funky.
You made up one rule, I think.
No, I
Right?
think I made up 2.
Did you make up 2? I thought you made up 1.
What?
Maybe you made up 2.
I think I made up 2. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't feel like my made up ones were up to par, so I had to expand into other interesting categories, and this category pertains to awards.
Okay.
Did you know? Again, this could be fake. This could be fake. I'm going to say it as if it's real, but don't let that fool you. It could be fake. Did you know that there is a such thing as Team of the Decade, where the team with the highest win percentage for those 10 years, so let's just say like from 2000 to 2009, like whatever the 10-year window is. They do it every
Okay.
10 years, like 2000 and okay. The team with the highest winning percentage in that is awarded Team of the Decade, and the owner gets a plaque.
Who are they awarded this by?
Huh?
Who
The NFL.
awards them? Okay. Is it on an award show? Is it on what award show is it on?
I believe every 10 years when they do NFL honors, just when it falls into that 10th year, based on what I read.
Okay. I don't know if you're baiting me and you just did not read enough on the info. But I feel like you have some plot holes, so I'm going to say drool.
No, I'm kidding. It's Drool. You're right.
It's Drool, okay.
Dang it.
I
I didn't think you were going to ask so many questions.
Is this on the ESPYs? Is this on? Do they broadcast?
Why did you ask so many questions? Dang it.
That was so
I was
funny.
not expecting an interrogation. I was not expecting an interrogation.
And I'm just like, he's giving off his tells.
Dang it.
Oh, it's so funny.
I'm quick. I'm usually quick-witted, but not with a lie. I'm usually I'm quick-witted with a joke, but you put me on the spot. I was like, shit. How do I dang it. And you ask questions every week, but for some reason I was like, you know what?
This one was like too much. It was like you weren't expecting those types of questions.
You brought the heat. You cracked me.
See, you kind of brought it into my realm, which is an award show, and I knew what questions to ask. You know.
Dang it! I didn't even know that there was multiple award shows. I thought that was just NFL honors. What the heck is the ESPYs?
They have the sports awards every year. They have the ESPY awards.
I've never heard of that.
Yep.
Dang it! All right, well, you earned it. You earned it. Good job.
I would believe that as an ESPY award, but I wouldn't believe it as an NFL honors because I feel like the ESPYs would do something like that. Like every decade, at the end of the decade, they would do. But yeah, understandable. It was a fun fake rule. You almost got me. It should be something they do though. Which I guess the issue would be like,
I should have.
Is it like why does it cut off at the decade? Just for the spectacle, I guess. But
I should have prepared answers to questions that I could have predicted were coming because you do ask questions usually.
I do. Next time
I just thought you would ask easier questions. I thought you would ask easier questions.
Next time I won't ask any questions just to throw you off, to make you prepare.
I'll prepare like a whole docket of information. Like
you'll be like, "You sure you don't want to ask any questions?" And then they'll be like, "No."
I'll have like an FAQ. I'll have like an FAQ printed out with like 50 questions that you might ask and how I should answer them. And then you're just like, Drool. Yeah, just Drool.
Yeah,
no questions. Drool.
No, just Drool.
And then you'll still be right, which would just be like, I'd rip up my paper and throw it in the air, all dramatic and such. Oh, dang. Well, you earned that one. I should have been more prepared. Dang it.
Well, I guess it's time for my strong opinion of the day, and that is that there should be no games on Monday during the playoffs.
Completely agree. I have no idea why they did that.